Welcome to Love Them Knives, batch 13. We do these in batches. There are 9 knives in this batch. We're going to give you numbers right after this. Thanks for joining me. Interesting knives. The Skaha knife, Fengyelin, which is probably one you're not familiar with. Also, the Amare Coloso knife, and they have other knives in that brand line. Steel Will, most of you are familiar with the Lanner. And then, of course, Defcon, which is fairly new player. They have the Proelia line, and then they have these Defcon Jungle or JK knives, jungle knife line. Okay, all under the Defcon brand. So they have these, and of course Steel Will, my new favorite Steel Will knife. Of course, the Cutjack is just freaking awesome. Love the Italian M390. Dig the optic green. And then, of course, Maxace being in the batch with the Goliath. This came and went quickly. Wow, they're gone. Too bad, too. Really like it. This one's staying here. So we did grab one while they were available. And of course, the deadbolt here on our Seismic, Flavio Icoma with the deadbolt system right here. And this is 2 pins that go in, lock it down. You'll break the blade before you break the lock. It's incredible. We're going to do a review on the Seismic coming up not too long. So we've got 9 knives. Let's see how they did as far as is the steel real, which I'm going to tell you right now, it's all test correct. But, what's the HRCs? Because they can vary. And, let me remind you one thing. If I have a knife like this and it's a 61 HRC and you go buy a knife, it may not be a 61 HRC. I don't know what it's going to be because they go batch by batch by batch. And I'm not even sure every blade in a certain, that vacuum heat treat, whatever they do, would even be the same HRC, or if they would vary by a click or two. You know what I mean? So, we're just taking a knife as a random sample and we're running them. So the HRCs on your knife, the actual grind angle on your knife, everything may be different. So I know that's kind of, in a way, it's disheartening because you just don't know what your knife is individually, but you just not. Production knives get produced in batches. They may vary from knife to knife. In fact, they're gonna. You can depend on that. But this is just a spot check. This is really a thing where if I took a CRKT knife in, whatever blade steel that would be appropriate. This is that 14116. I think it's a German type of 440 type of equivalent. In any case, but if I, the Ken Onion hijinks that they did in, it was the same blade steel. So if I did like 5 or 6 different models, am I going to see, if all of a sudden it's like a 52 HRC and the next one is as well, and the next one's a 53, then I know they have a system, a systemic problem where if it's like this is a 55, the hijinks is a 57, which it actually is. So then I know there's variance, but it's not like there's a systemic. So if we can catch a situation where they continually come out with low HRCs, then apparently they're out of calibration or the heat treat's not correct or something like that. So maybe that can get cleaned up and corrected so they don't continually put out that kind of product. So, we're not the QC department, but we're just grabbing individually, testing them just to see what's going on. And of course, these brands like Maxace or Steel Will or whoever, CRKT, Real Steel, you name it, Spyderco, we will continue to test. And so we will continue to see if they, if they're fairly regular with the bandwidth that they're staying in for the HRCs. There's continuity, you know what I mean? Okay, so we're going to go alphabetically. So we're going to start off with the A word, the Coloso. How crazy is this knife? These are big, big. These are in D2. Now they have the pocket peak, and they also have an S35VN flipper knife, that's really classy looking as well. But this one is a big, huge beast of a knife. I also have the tan one with the blackened blade. Kind of be cool to put the blackened blade on this and the tan scales with the stonewash. That's the way I would have probably done it. But in any case, here it is. Huge, heavy sucker. I haven't done a review on that yet, but I wanted to wait until I got it back from testing, and here it is. The D2 is real, and, it does actually, their PMI gun does detect D2 tool steel because they work with that. It's in their software suite. HRC was 61.1. I almost put a 6 there. Stop it. 61.1. So that's really in the sweet range of, it says online, if you go to the right place, 55 to 62 is the HRC range for D2. I'm going to want mine a little higher, maybe 57, 58 or above. But, 55 to 62 is that range. So this is definitely in that range. Really done well there. And here's your elementals. Okay. It's a really cool knife, and they're pretty affordable. In fact, I threw some stuff out here, and let me see if I can. Of course, it'll be at the very bottom, right? Of course it will be. Of course it will be. And they run about, $76, according to what I've got here. So, but they are, if you're buying it by the pound, you're probably getting a deal. 9 1/4 overall. They're just big, huge. How heavy is that? Where's the weight? The weight, it's a heavy dog. Where is it? 8.5 here. It's a big, heavy knife. Big, heavy knife. Any case, sorry I just interjected there, but some of these knives you may not be that familiar with. The CRKT Seismic. There you go. It's Flavio Icoma, designed for the knife, the deadbolt lock, everything on this one. And the deadbolt will be getting used on other CRKT knives, regardless of the specific designer, because when they do it with CRKT, of course, Flavio also did the IKBS. He invented that. But you get IKBS bearings on a lot of different knives. So if you're a designer for CRKT, you have the approval to use the IKBS system. In this case, the deadbolt lock as well as the field strip technology that Ken Onion did too. So that gets passed around. There's other designers using that on their knives as well. So they all share that kind of stuff. It's really cool. This is a big old dog knife, man. Woo. In any case, here it is, the Seismic 55. So this kind of steel here it's not a super steel. It's one you could probably sharpen fairly easily. And it's let's look at the elementals here. Well, it's a stainless, okay, so there you go. But not much vanadium in there. So edge holding's not going to be tremendous. But depends. There's some guys that know how to sharpen a knife, and they'd rather just kind of do what they're going to do cut-wise and then go ahead and strope it up. And there's a lot of guys that contact me going, no, I'm good with like 440, some of these others, because I can strope it back to a razor edge. I'm good. That's the way I like to roll. I don't want a super steel. I don't want to do all the diamond stones and all the lengthy sharpening process when I do have to sharpen it. So there you go. HRC 55, the Ken Onion one, the Hijinks was a 57 point something. So this is a little lower, but it's still in that supposed acceptable range that they advertise on theirs as a 55 to a 56 HRC. So there you go. Defcon Barracuda. There's the Barracuda from Defcon. And let me pull my paperwork on that, because you know what? These Defcon knives, White Mountain knives, by the way, 69 bucks, and of course 10% off, so that's about $7, so you're in the low 60s, and you're getting a titanium frame lock with D2. Really cool. You know, and they come, you can get this greenish thing or gray or whatever, bronze, I think, whatever. So I just thought that was interesting. Very competitive from a price standpoint. And I know there's a couple guys that I've interfaced with that jumped on them right as they came out and really like them. Really like them. So there you go. This is really a good little user carry knife. By the way, here we come. Yeah, it's real D2. And the HRC is 60.5. Now, the model number technically is TF 3330. And then there'll be a number on the end depending on what color it is. Like this might be the 2. So it might be a 3330 and then a 2 on the end, or a 1 on the end, or whatever, depending. But this is the model number there. Here's your elementals. Nothing fancy there. And of course, you know, their software suite recognizes D2. Okay, so that's excellent. Next, how about the scales on this thing? Well, the scales, we didn't get a match on. It didn't give us a specific match. A lot of times we'll get TI64, which is a grade 5 titanium. Most of the scales are that way. This did not. It held scan, but it did not come up with a specific grade. Okay, and I'm sure their software suite only recognizes certain grades, but here you go. And here's the elementals. Obviously, there's titanium in there. Okay, and do not fear, because we're going to, obviously it's anodized, right? Because next up, alphabetically, is the Defcon and the flipper, and this is an S35VN. It's the TF5289 and then -1 because it's blue apparently, or whatever. And this is like 107 on White Mountain. So I mean, use the 10% discount code. I think it's 107 is what that is. So I mean, S35VN, titanium, marbled carbon fiber. What gives? How does that happen? How do you do that? You know, I mean, you've got a machined backspacer, pocket clip, titanium, all that kind of stuff for that price. I mean, that just kind of blew me away when I saw that. And it comes in an incredible box with the tool, a velvet pouch, you know, all the stuff. In any case, I'll be doing a review on these later, by the way. But still, I mean, you're talking well under $100 by the time you get 10% off. Any case, here's kind of this stuff. Just thought you'd be interested. Throw that on the floor. But here's our actual readout and S35VN. But due to technical difficulties, because when you come with a coated blade, and if you ever send me a knife to get tested, try not to send a coated blade, because that really plays hell with the scanner to be able to actually determine. And there ain't much to try and grab on that edge, okay? But, I mean, here's the elementals. So it said, looks to be real S35. HRC is 56. So that's not in the 58 to 61 range. That's a little low. It's not terrible low. So I'm not that concerned about it. Maybe I could actually sharpen it. That S35, that's tough, even for me to sharpen on that KME I've got. In any case, here you go. There's your elementals. And if you look at this and you compare this on the spreadsheet, the link to the spreadsheet of all knives tested, click on that. Thanks to Blade Banter for doing that. And also thanks to Kurt for doing the testing. Okay, by the way. I'm just a reporter, but I'm not behind the scenes doing all the work, obviously. But you look at this, and then you can see, like the vanadium, stuff like that, you can see that this is actually looks exactly like S35VN when you look at the elementals. Of course, they don't have it in their software suite, but it didn't, you know, don't know. Looks to be real tough for the scanner to get through the coating or to hold that edge for the scan. So there you go. But what was interesting to me, because yes, I believe that's real S35, according to what, I mean, I compared it to some others on, you know, that were verified on the elements. This is a second scan of the blade, so you can take a look at that as well. He tried. And then you say about the Barracuda, well, it didn't say TI-64. Well, see, right there, TI-64. So yes, it is. This one didn't carry the scan all the way. So what do you think? You know, if this one is confirmed TI-64, what do you think this is? I think this is too. So, I mean, just kind of brings you around there. And there's your elementals on that as well. Okay? So, we're good here. These are really bargains. I love my Goliath steel. I mean, these are some real favorites here sitting here. I'm cool with the Lanner. I think that's a really cool knife. But so, since we're going alphabetically, let's go to the Fengyelin knife. This is really strange, but this is Wang Denjin, who designs knives for Tucson. Wang designs like the TS-121, 124, TS-89, TS-81, all that kind of stuff. So he's involved with this knife, but this is not his design, okay? But in any case, so he was the one that facilitated me to get this knife. Interesting knife. I'll be doing a review on it. Actually, they have an option instead of like 130, 135 bucks for this with the carbon fiber. They have an option where you can have a Moku tie inlay on here, and it's wild looking, okay? On the back, they don't do that, though, so that was too bad, because if they did, I would really like it a lot more. But it's not a flipper. It's just got a thumb stud here, but it flies open, supposedly M390. Is it real M390? Of course it is. The HRC is 59.2, so our desired range for M390 is 60 to 62, but that's really close. That's really close. So here's your elementals. And yeah, hey, really cool. So yeah, 130 something, is that really worth? I don't know. I mean, I thought it was interesting to get. I didn't feel ripped off, that's for sure. And it's the real deal. And a really nice, lightweight, compact little, and if you want to get one of these, let me know, because I've got a link for this that I got from Wong. So in any case, all right, so the titanium scales on here, by the way, are the next up. So here they are, and yes, they are true grade 5 TI-64, and there's your elementals. Okay, you can hear the clock in the background, right? I like it. I find it comforting, although it's a clock that my dad gave to my grandfather back in the early 1970s. So it's a Seth Thomas. It's really nice. It's got chimes that I have let run down because it's a spring wind, because I don't want it chiming off in the middle of my reviews. Too bad. Nice mantle clock. So, of course, both my grandfather died in 78. My dad died in 03. So, anyways, Maxace Goliath. Now, that's that Bohler K110. So, and here we go with a coated blade again. Of course. Now, this is a monster. How far do we have to back up to get this in screen? I love this. I mean, first of all, you got the nice G10 on both sides up to these titanium bolsters. backspacer, titanium pocket clip, but really cool. I would have preferred maybe a satin blade, but you know, this is that Bohler K110. So it's Bohler's version of D2. Okay. So, but what should the K110 be? And I saw there was a discussion. Some guy was working with it as a custom maker and saying, what's your procedure for the heat treat? And another guy was explaining it to him, take it up to 1900 degrees for so long and then bring it back, blah, blah, blah. And say you'll end up with a 60 to 61 HRC. So this one is a 58, okay? As far as, I mean, if we're going to equate it to D2, then 55 to 61 is fine. But I don't know if I can equate this necessarily. It's their version of D2, so whatever. Obviously, it's not compositionally close enough to actually register as D2 because these do have D2 in their software suite. But take a look. Yeah, it's a semi-stainless because it's not, you know, I mean, D2 will be closer to 12, but let me see if we got any. Oh, we do have some vanadium in there, this and that. So it's interesting. It should be pretty good steel then. Any case, now, what did they advertise? They advertised it as a 62 HRC. So this is definitely not 62, or at least on the, and let's take a look at this. Yeah, 62 HRC on this. Okay, these were just $100. So with your discount, they were like $90 delivered. I just thought that was just, I mean, crazy good. I love it. I love it. Any case, so that's one I'm holding. I don't care. But 58 is what it actually tested. So it's definitely not the advertised HRC. Is it an adequate HRC? Yeah, I think it is, but that's just my opinion. Okay, Skaha. Here we go. I mean, who doesn't want a Skaha, right? From North Arm Knives. Really nice. Interesting. I haven't done a review on this yet, but if you've ever seen anybody disassemble one of these and stuff and look at the detent, is not a detent ball. So that's really cool how they do that, and it really makes it snappy, and it really has great action on it. It's just a matter of, you know, by the time you pay the $16 shipping, DHL shipping from British Columbia, so then you're down, you're at like 200 or a buck or two over for an S35VN G10 knife. So it seems like, you know, Nick Shabazz, a lot of other people really went nuts over them, and I think they're a cool knife. So yeah, and there's people in line to get them. You know, there's a waiting list. Skaha S35VN is real. Now the HRC was 57.6, and we want 58 to 61. So yeah, that's one of those things where it will be in the yellow zone, even though it's only 4/10 from being right in the zone. So, am I concerned about this? Nah. And there's your elementals. Okay, so, yeah. Do I like the Skaha? Oh, hell yeah. I think there's definitely a place in my collection for at least one of them. And blue will work. And mine's already tested, so I know what it is. The steel wheel Lanner. This is D2, okay? So D2, our range is 55 to 61. What is this? This is a 57.5 on their D2. So yes. And yes, it's real. And here's your elementals. As you see, don't quite get to 12 plus, or even, you know, you get into the 13s, you're into stainless. So it's a semi-stainless. And there you go. So I didn't test the big Lanner. I got the regular size, and I got the big one, so I got both. And, you know, whatever. I like them, though. Even though, I mean, they don't have... it would be cool if they made an Italian one of these with bearings and M390, because I really love that design. I mean, it's right in there as far as I'm concerned with a Cutjack, as far as... And it's very similar. Very similar. Different blade shape. A little bit different on the handle than that and the Modus. But those are really ergo-friendly user knives. Okay. Speaking of the Cutjack, here we go. Where do we want this to be? Well, at M390, supposedly the aimed hardness level is 60 to 62. Okay? So here we go. And, of course, we got the divot marks, by the way, which I don't point out almost, but you get the HRC divot. And this one is number 78, so this is cool. This one was a 58.5. So, it ain't 60. Am I concerned about that? No. Will the variance probably be somewhere between 58 and 61 on these knives? Probably. So I just happen to get a 58.5, but I'm not concerned. Personally. I mean, and if you are a professional knife maker with years and years of experience, or you have a lot of experience with these super steels and stuff, and heat treating and stuff, then you can have your own opinion. I've talked to several custom knife makers at length. Yeah, I'm not too concerned. In any case, so here's your elementals, and obviously you can see how stainless that is with that much chromium in it. In any case, yeah, it's all ready to go. Look at the vanadium in there. Woo, we're making it tough. Those are some hard carbides. Okay, but it doesn't pick up carbon, like I said. I'll give you the links to all that kind of testing information, and then you can understand better what kind of testing we're doing, but it's good stuff. I really like it. Hopefully, the knife community appreciates this. Surprised we don't get more views on these testing things, but maybe I'm just too verbose and obtuse and people just don't want. But at least you could chime in and just take a snapshot of this. And these were all correct steels. Nobody was lying. But here's that way you can take a screenshot, pause this, take a screenshot. Batch 13, here's LTK's batch 13. Here's the knives tested. Here's the actual HRCs that we got. Here's, if we don't have a determined desired hardness level, then I'll just put down advertised. What was it advertised to be on the listing, you know, where the knife was listing. Otherwise, these are going to be the Blade Banter researched area of hardness, desired hardness for the HRC. So you can see these 9 knives, boom, just keep it for your own information. I'll try and do a summary sheet like this going forward for all the other batches that we do, so you can have a one look, you know, reference. All right, gonna leave you to it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Almost took you a half an hour. Sorry, it just does take some time because I do put in some extraneous information like here's the knife, here's how much it costs, here's where you can get it, or just some extra information. So hopefully you enjoy these. I know I find them very informational, and my knowledge is growing because I'm just learning. I'm just learning as well. And a lot of you guys are probably just learning too. So let's learn together. You know what we do around here. We love them knives. So you guys stay sharp.